It is that time of the week. It is time to dive into your Dynasty football
Come
trades.
on.
Every trade that you guys made this week, we are looking at. And if you want your trades to be on this weekly video, then it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is sign up with our promo code LAND to the Flock Fantasy website. Choose that Mother Flocker tier, and you will instantly unlock the Dynasty Trade Show, as well as a bunch of other perks, including a Dynasty team review on a live stream. DM us if you sign up. We'd be happy to get you all set up.
Yeah.
The first trade we're going to look at today is from Sam. He says, made this deal to get a younger wide receiver. 12-team Superflex, start 10. I'm 1-7 and should get the 102 or 103 this year. I'm at least 2 years away from competing. I'm hoping to build my team around CJ, CD, Hollywood, Jahan Dotson, Christian, and my 2024 first-round pick. Both will be top 5 if the season ended today. And he says, I talked about this trade with Badaki on the hotline. Mm-hmm. So he gets Christian Watson and a third, sends away Deontay Johnson. And I'm overall fine with this deal. I think the hope is that Watson gets a quarterback upgrade through the draft.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just him and Jordan Love are not in sync.
No, and I think they're utilizing him as just like the deep threat, which is not the best. You know, they're just using him as a field stretcher, where I do believe he could earn those targets. He could be that guy that he wasn't getting crazy targets with Aaron Rodgers, but he was getting 8, 6, 7 targets sometimes per game. And if that quarterback comes in right now, the Packers have a top 7 pick if the season were to end now. Obviously, a lot of things could happen as the season progresses.
It's a deep quarterback class, too.
But it is a deep quarterback class, so you would expect or hope that this team could either, move up to get a quarterback or maybe somehow one falls to them. So, yeah, I like Christian Watson long-term, a younger wide receiver as well versus Deontay Johnson. But, yes, we did talk about this.
If I'm competing, I definitely want Deontay here. But if you're rebuilding, I think it makes sense for sure.
Exactly.
Styles says, Golf League, stand up. What you thinking, fellas? So, Styles gets Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown in a second, sends away Jalen Hurts. I remember this deal going through, and the league chat, because this is one of our follower leagues, the league chat was popping off on their thoughts, and I was going to contribute, but I thought, I know Styles is going to put that in the trade show, so let's just hold off any thoughts for now.
Right.
What do you think about this?
Honestly, I think this is a good trade for Styles, personally. Okay. I don't know how you feel. I think Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts are, at the moment, Jalen Hurts my QB3 behind Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And then Lamar Jackson is my...
Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow? Is Joe Burrow 2 for you?
Jalen, so Joe Burrow's 3. Did I say top 2?
Oh, okay.
All right, sorry.
So you said Mahomes and Burrow were your 1 and 2.
Sorry, that is very confusing. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow, then Jalen Hurts. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay, heard.
My top 4. Then it's then you can go to Lamar or Justin Herbert. They're both in my top 6, essentially what I'm trying to say. So I'm really happy to pivot off of Jalen Hurts or Lamar. They both have long-term contracts. I'm getting a top wide receiver that's most likely going to be extended with Kyler Murray on this team. And I get a second. I'm okay with this trade personally. I'm not sure how you feel.
I think I love Hollywood Brown. I mean, no one's been a bigger buy Hollywood Brown this offseason than me, and hopefully that we're rewarded by that in the next couple of weeks with Kyler coming back. Because we know how good Hollywood was with Kyler.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a solid wide receiver room, I'd be happy with the Lamar Jackson side of this deal. What I would say is if I'm in a dynasty league where, I can start 4 wide receivers, which is what our league is, and I have 6 that I like on my team, I would be pretty comfortable to go out and get Jalen Hurts here. So that's how I was kind of viewing it, if I'm having to decide every week between Hollywood Brown and Deontay Johnson, or Hollywood Brown and George Pickens, or why am I naming Steeler wide receivers exclusively? Hollywood Brown and Tank Dell.
Yeah, someone
Hollywood
that
Brown
is in question
or
something. Right.
It's I would be comfortable to kind of pack it in for what I would say is a slight upgrade. I'm not saying it's a huge difference, but yeah. So that's I can see the validity in both sides of this deal. it's a tough one, but I think both sides win. Is that possible for both sides to win? Because
I think it is
the other
fair.
side, Hurts is a slight upgrade. You can consolidate. You don't have to kind of guess every week with Hollywood Brown and another guy on your team. And as for Styles, Hollywood's probably going straight into his lineup, and Lamar Jackson is a fine replacement for Jalen Hurts. So, I would say it's pretty even.
Yeah, I like this trade. I don't remember off the top of my head if the chat was going off negatively.
No, people just had strong opinions on both sides, and I'm sure people will as well as they watch this video.
And Hollywood Brown is that perfect wide receiver. He's not too old or he's not too young to where even if he's not with Kyler Murray, maybe he goes to another team that he's still going to be fantasy relevant. So like you take that chance, but there's a balance, right? Like, there's a balance there because not only that, you get a second. So
the concern for Hollywood is if this team has a top 3 pick and they select
Marvin Harrison
Jr.
I find that really difficult to believe now, personally, with Kyler Murray being back. If you told me Kyler Murray was going to play this year,
right,
I 100% agree. But I can picture Kyler Murray coming into Week 10 as we're recording this. I can see him at least winning, going 4-4 for the next 8 games of the season.
I don't see that because this team was better a year ago when Kyler Murray was healthy, when DeAndre Hopkins was healthy for the time. I know he was suspended at a moment, but their defense was better. They had Byron Murphy, and they didn't win many games. And it's not like Josh Dobbs has been playing poorly. I still think this is a bad team. I think Kyler Murray is going to play well. I just don't think he wins more than 2 to 3 games rest of the year. And I would lean on more like winning 2 games because their schedule's not very easy, especially in the NFC West.
Sure.
And that team as a whole is playing well, but they're not winning games. And Kyler's clearly an upgrade over Dobbs, but Dobbs hasn't been playing poorly. But anyway, that's an entirely different. We're diving in way too deep into what could happen. But all I say is like I believe that wide receiver is a possibility. I'm not saying it's locked and loaded.
Yeah,
because obviously they have plenty of needs on that team.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is close. We could spend a lot of time on that one, I'm sure. Another one, 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.5 tight end premium, 6-point passing touchdown, start 11. Made this deal on the 7th of
July 10th. Was that July 10th?
No, 10 would be
October.
Guys, sorry. In Australia, they go
it's backwards.
Day, month, year. So every time our minds are like, oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah, this is confusing.
So this would be in October, right?
Yeah, it's October.
So 7th of October. And looking back, I'm still loving it. Picks are mid to late, but it gave me 7 firsts next year as part of this rebuild with my core in this league being Herbert, Quentin, and Pitts. So he gets... he sends away Jordan Love and Jameson Williams, gets Fant, a first and a second.
Look, if this trade was done... Well, this is in October, so it wasn't too long ago. At the moment, it feels like you're winning here because Jameson, maybe it's too early, but it doesn't look like he's being utilized the right way. It doesn't look like he is the focal point. He has dropped a lot of balls, which is a little bit concerning. And also Jordan Love has also been struggling. We saw a good little, spurt in the first half of the
Playing
season.
Himself out of a job, really.
And he is just not that guy. So you get a first and a second. I wonder if he could have got more.
I don't think so.
But I'm really happy with this trade as well. And if I'm not mistaken, where is he saying that first is going to be? Did he say that?
But apparently he has 7 firsts. So
picks are
it's going to be somewhere.
Yeah, mid to late, it says.
Oh, okay.
So I'm okay with this trade.
I'm fine with this deal, honestly. I mean, Noah Fant, though, it just feels like I'd rather have the roster spot, So could that have been a third or something? That would have been more intriguing to me. But.
Yeah, same. I would agree.
Hey, we have someone named Zach. My name is Zach, and someone named Zach who unlocked the Dynasty Trades channel. I don't know if Zach is new, if he signed up recently, but shout out to him.
We appreciate it.
Because I don't think we have seen him in the Dynasty Trade show yet. I could be wrong. But thanks for joining. Thanks for the support, Zach. 12-team, 1-quarterback PPR, tight end premium. So he gets T. Higgins, Jahan Dotson, Tajay Spears, and sends away Puka, Nacua.
Oh, boy.
How do you feel about this deal?
I'm okay with this deal. I'm okay with T. Higgins and Jahan Dotson. I still believe in their talent. I still believe in their draft capital. I'm not disagreeing that Puka... I think this is too much, And maybe this is a recent trade because Jahan Dotson, I would say right now, is not worth a first. I think T. Higgins.
I think he's moving back up.
Exactly.
Ladder,
he is moving back up. So hypothetically, T. Higgins is your first. Jahan Dotson was a mid-second, and Tajay Spears, let's just say he's just a throw-in piece. So you're essentially getting a first and a mid-second for Puka Nacua, which I still believe in the talent of T. Higgins and Jahan Dotson. Not discrediting Puka. Still believe that he's going to be a vital part of this offense whenever Matthew Stafford is in the game. You can see how he can struggle without Matthew Stafford. That makes me a little bit concerned of who's going to be their quarterback in the long term. But I'm going T. Higgins, Jahan Dotson here. I like the depth with the talent, both two first-round draft picks as well.
So I would be more curious as to how many starters there are for this team. In Dynasty, it's a one quarterback, league. So I'm wondering if it's one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a flex. I'm wondering if it's a 7 starter league, because if it's a 7 starter, I want the Puka Nacua side here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if this is a 3 wide receiver league and multiple flex spots, I can see definitely the Higgins and Dotson side has more value. So again, I think the context is really important there, because what the narrative for Puka Nacua for people who didn't like him to start the year was it's all Matthew Stafford. It's all Matthew Stafford. And obviously Matthew Stafford is the preferred quarterback there. But I've seen more than enough to say, no, Puka Nacua is just actually extremely talented. Like, he is just actually an extremely talented player. And if it's not Matthew Stafford, I don't see Sean McVay leaving. And it's not going to be Brett Rippon, guys. Like, if Matthew Stafford moves on at some point, it will not be as bad as Brett Rippon. They will get a different quarterback in there that can sustain Puka Nacua. And keep in mind, Cooper Kupp is not some young chicken, spring chicken that's just rising up the ranks. Puka's the future of this team. He is the most exciting offensive feature weapon that they have in the next 3 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. So it depends. I'm not devaluing Higgins. I love Higgins. I'm not devaluing Dotson. I love him. But I think the format really would determine what side I would lean on here. But again, we can't devalue Tajay either, because it looks like Henry's probably moving on after this year, and that could be intriguing. But I also wouldn't rule out the Titans drafting a running back to complement Tajay. I mean, is he going to be the guy for them? I'm not sure. In today's NFL, I'm just not sure that happens for him. So
yeah, look, I agree. What's going to be really interesting is how I think what brings you hope in this trade, oddly enough, is that Matthew Stafford misses more games so they can lose more games. Currently have a top 6 pick in this NFL draft.
Yeah.
If they stay within that top 8, top 10, I can see these guys as contenders to move up for a quarterback, or maybe a quarterback falling to them, which can give you a little bit more hope in the long term for Puka, depending on the quarterback that they do take here. So definitely keep that in mind as well.
It is a tough situation to kind of navigate. But I just don't like Sean McVay's going to try and win as many games as he can.
Absolutely.
That's what's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. Next trade is from Basie Crown. 1 quarterback, 10 team, half PPR, start 9. That second is a 201 without a doubt. He gets Hollywood Brown and a 5th rounder for the 201 and a 4th. Keep in mind, this is a 1 quarterback league, so the 201 is going to be less valuable than a Superflex league. In a Superflex league this year, those quarterbacks are going to push up value in the first round a lot.
Yeah.
But in a 1 quarterback league, I'm not saying the 201 won't be valuable in a 10-man, because that's essentially the 111.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be a little bit less valuable because those quarterbacks won't be as necessary to your team. Firstly, why do we even have a 5th round is my question. Yeah, 5th rounds are just kind of pointless in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, look, I'm okay with this trade for KC. I mean, you get Hollywood Brown, you get the 201. And I'm assuming...
Well, you send away the 201.
You send away the 201. I'm assuming you are competing. That's why maybe you're getting Hollywood, because you're saying that second is a 201 without a doubt. Or actually you're not competing, because that 201 is technically... That means you would have the 101.
Well, it's not his pick, so...
Okay, never mind then. You're absolutely right. Anyways, I do like the trade for Hollywood Brown.
I like it too. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hollywood. Been suggesting to buy him most of the offseason, and that was kind of around the price we were buying him anyway. So to get him now with Kyler Murray coming back, I'm a fan of that deal. And this is a start 9-1 quarterback. So if you think about it, you got a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and then that means you have 3 flex spots is what it sounds like. So Hollywood would be pretty valuable in a format like that.
Absolutely.
I like it for you. Next one is from Mighty Booch. And this is definitely in one of our leagues. I didn't see this one go through, so this is cool to see. Puka Nacua, and she gets in return Godwin, a second and a first round pick. I have to be honest. I don't know where that first round pick is going to be for Dogzo.
Mm-hmm.
If it's late, I definitely am pretty heavily on the Puka Nacua side here.
Yeah, I think it just all depends. I'm really happy with this trade. I think Chris Godwin is also somebody I've been saying to buy as well. I think he is still a young, talented wide receiver. I don't think Baker Mayfield is a long-term answer, and they're also in contention to get a quarterback coming into this year. I actually really like this trade for Mighty Booch because of the first-round pick. Hopefully that is let's just say it's a mid-first round pick. I'm happy with this trade, getting a second. One of my seconds actually, and Chris Godwin. So I'm happy with this trade personally. I think it's fairly even trade.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick second and look at that league. So Dogzo is currently second in this league. He's 7-2. So that is likely going to be a late first round pick. And just being 100% honest and transparent, I want Puka Nacua here.
That's fair.
I know Chris Godwin is a good talent, of course. I don't personally think they're going to play themselves into a quarterback this year. I could be wrong there, of course. But yeah, give me Puka Nacua in this deal here. The next one is from the Golf League, Lazy Bones. What's up, my man? He gets Tyreek Hill, Isaiah Pacheco, a third and a first, sends away A.J. Brown and DeMarcado. And, you know, I'm all aboard A.J. Brown, but I am pretty strongly on the Tyreek Hill side here. I mean, if we're playing Dynasty in the span of a 3-year window, then I think as good as A.J. Brown has been, you also get the first-round pick there at some point.
Exactly.
You get Tyreek Hill, which is probably the number 1 wide receiver in a redraft format, and you get Pacheco, who's a startable asset. So I would sell A.J. Brown for a deal like this, personally.
Yeah, I'm okay with this trade. I think, Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown essentially cancel themselves out, oddly enough, whether it's in a redraft or Dynasty. Both these guys have been performing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, wide receiver 1 and 2 on the year. You do get the first, so I'm happy with this trade.
Yeah, I think you would agree that we prefer AJ, obviously, in Dynasty.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. I guess I'm talking about a redraft standpoint. Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown cancel themselves out. But what really helps you here is that Tyreek Hill is still performing at a high level, even though he would be, the Dynasty startup. Where is he going? At least from last year, he was going mid third.
Yeah, he probably goes around. He
goes
again.
Yeah, he probably goes there, maybe even a little bit higher the way he has been performing this year. And you get the first, so I'm okay to get Tyreek Hill, who's maybe a year or 2 older than AJ Brown, and the first.
Yeah, I think he's maybe 4 years older, but still, if we're playing Dynasty in the span of 3 years, I agree. Lazy Bones says these next 2 are from last week leading up to week 8. In the same league, that's 12-team Dynasty Superflex PPR Start 9 non-tight end premium. Mm-hmm. So he receives a second for Gardner Minshew, which I'm fine with. I think you need to find the owner in your league that is competing and has had a lot of quarterback issues and get maybe more than a second, because I did that in our home league. I actually got 2 seconds for Minshew. Maybe that's unrealistic, but I think with the amount of injuries that are going around right now, it's doable, in my opinion, to get a little bit more for a guy like Minshew.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. If you are competing specifically, I'm okay to do a trade like this. But if not, like if Lazy Bones is, or the other person is not competing and he gets Gardner Minshew because he is going to be the quarterback for the rest of the season, I don't think it's the right move, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. The other one is Tajay Spears in a third, sends away Rashad White in a fourth. Here's how I view this trade. Like the third and the fourth swap, it doesn't move any sort of needle for me to what I would say downgrade from White to Tajay. And look, if Tajay is the guy next year, then maybe we look at this differently. And if Rashad White, if there's competition added, which is very realistic possibility, maybe we look at this differently as well. But based off what we currently know, I don't think that the swap was worth it. I would have done it if it was a second and a third swap, but a third and a fourth it doesn't move any needle for me personally.
Yeah. You know, I would rather have Rashad White long term than Tajay Spears. I just think this Titans team is going to specifically draft a running back coming into this year, and that's going to be eating into Tajay Spears' workload. I think the same thing could be said with Rashad White, but I think of how successful he has been this year and how he has been, you know, a good vital pulse for this offense. I think, not saying they won't draft anyone either, but he would also have still more comfortable workload and job going into next year compared to what my belief is with Tajay Spears. I mean, yes, this running back class is not sexy, but I can name at least 3 running backs that can take over Tajay Spears' job coming into this year. And I don't think I can do the same thing with Rashad White, to be honest. So I would rather have Rashad White side for me.
I would agree as well. Crime Lord, 10-team Superflex tight end premium. Post-Kirk injury, chasing youth. Hopefully Atlanta turns it around for Pitts. So he gets Kyle Pitts and Treylon Burks, sends away Hawkinson and Minshew.
Yeah, you see?
And
this is, oddly enough, we were just talking about this. Sorry to interrupt. You know, I was saying if I can pivot from, if you guys haven't seen it, or maybe I'm pretty sure that video is going to be out before the trade video, or we just did an updated tight end video. I was saying if I can pivot to somebody, one of those tier 1 that Zach had, I'm doing that in a heartbeat because I don't know the longevity of Kyle Pitts and Arthur Smith. It's not based off the talent of Kyle Pitts. It's based off of his situation. I feel more comfortable with T.J. Hawkinson getting that long-term contract. He's still, I guess, fairly young for a tight end. And Treylon Burks, we just don't know what's going to happen. He hasn't been utilized in the right way. We haven't seen him. He's also been injured, which also really has hindered his production. Yeah. But I would rather have T.J. Hawkinson in this scenario here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the issue is he says he's chasing youth, but Hawkinson is only 26 years old. So
I think that's pretty still youthful for the tight end position. I get Kyle Pitts
that's
20,
someone that you feel comfortable with
23.
building around for multiple years. So I don't really love the pivot myself. And I do like Treylon Burks, but I think we have to recognize that it just might not work out. It just might not work out in that offense. Maybe if he was drafted to a different team, maybe if he had stayed healthy, you know, his talent could have carried him, but I don't know that it's going to work out in Tennessee. I feel like their priority in the offseason will be adding another wide receiver at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that is very unfortunate for Treylon Burks. He just hasn't. Yeah, I was really trying to think. I don't know if it's the quarterback. Is it the quarterback play? Is it the play calling, or is it Treylon? It's all a little bit of. It's all, in my opinion, a bit of all three. Sure. But we've seen the quarterback play improve for at least 2 games. He hasn't really only played for 1 game with that new quarterback improvement. So it's hard to envision right now with Treylon.
Yeah, I think most players, it's a combination of all those factors for sure.
Mm-hmm. By the way,
Rowan,
3 minutes, so let's do a quick.
Okay, Rowan, 12-team, 1 quarterback PPR, had insane wide receiver depth. Now have 3 first. This one is mid, more likely early than late. And now my wide receivers are Chase, CD, Smitty, London, and the Lamar Flower stack. So he gets Lamar Jackson in a first, sends away Olave and Stroud.
I'm interested to know where you are at with this because I do have CJ Stroud just 1 or technically 2 spots. So I have Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and CJ Stroud. I think I would rather go the CJ Stroud and Olave side, depending on where that first is at.
Yeah, I have Lamar Jackson in a higher tier than CJ Stroud, but I have them back to back in my dynasty rankings. Stroud is my quarterback 7. So I guess the question is like, is Olave worth a single first? And I think he's worth more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's just my personal opinion on it.
I hear you.
Next trade is from Goat Rings, 10-team Superflex, start 11, full PPR. For IDP, been a 2-week trade, but finally said F it, strong contender. So he gets Josh Allen in a third, sends away A-Rich and Olave. And, you know, look, if the goal is to win your Dynasty League and you can't play Anthony Richardson right now, I understand why you'd make this move.
Yeah.
So I'm overall, I'm fine with a move like this if you want to go all in.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I
don't think we're going to have time to get to the next trade, but Win Murder, we will get to your trade as the first one on next week's video show.
Exactly.
So come join us then. We appreciate you guys. Drop a like, drop a comment, tell us what you think, and we'll see you in the next video. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.